What if I told you that faith without works actually is surrender? Stay with me. So we're on a fast with our church community, and one of the scriptures that we got told to read was Ezekiel 37. So that scripture is about the dry bones where God instructs Ezekiel to go and speak, prophesy some words over dry bones so that they could live and get flesh and all the rest of things, all the things that is impossible to man. Anyways, while I was reading, I thought of something, right? So Jesus always in the Bible goes around saying that it's not I that does the work, but the Father that does the work through me, right? And so I start to think that, okay, how does this relate to the Ezekiel scripture? And it relates to the Ezekiel scripture because the only way for the dry bones to live was if Ezekiel spoke the words that God had said. Now, how does this power translate from him speaking to life coming? What we often forget as human beings is that we are first spirit before we are flesh, right? And we carry and we embody the Spirit of God. But half the time we are misaligned with who God is and his Spirit because we are in our carnal states, meaning that we are using our thoughts and our own power to do the things that God can do through us, right? So the scripture identifies or clearly states that Jesus was a vessel. And Ezekiel was being used in the same manner as a vessel. But in order for them to perform the things that God had, which is the works, they both had to be surrendered vessels, meaning that their ideology, their way of doing, their thoughts of doing could not be the same as God's. It could not rule, it could not be ahead, but it had to be surrendered. They had to let go of that so that the vessel, which we are, his Spirit could actually do the works through us. So the question is, if you have the faith to believe, do you have the obedience to surrender for God to do the works? And I think that is where half of us get stuck in our so-called manifestations or allowance of things to come from God, is that we believe but we are not surrendered. Therefore, because we're trying to use our own willpower, it takes longer or it never happens. Whereas if we actually just surrender, forget for a moment how we want to do it, how it's supposed to happen, and just go back to God and ask God, okay, Lord, how do you want to do it? Because being surrendered doesn't mean being lazy or not doing. It just means going back to God and asking God, okay, how do you want to do it?